Tyler Perry, who's my boss and writes and directs and produces the show I'm on, and basically who I've worked with for the past 6 years, he would give me, you know, that feedback after we'd shoot and just say, I love how free you are. I love working with you. I just love how free you are.
This is back to your story.
There we go, brother.
Yes, sir.
Shit, dude. How are you doing? We were recording on all the cameras. Okay. Jeez,
yes,
man.
Geez.
Round 2, baby.
Round 2.
This is round 2, right?
Yes, sir.
Damn.
Yes, sir. I don't know. I was trying to think on the way over here when I was here. I imagine it was 2019.
2020.
Sure. Was it 2020?
2020, buddy.
Holy cow.
2020, dude. Time's flying so freaking quick. It's insane.
It is. It is. It's wild with especially the crazy world we've been in, and my days just seem to pass by, and I wonder where the heck the time's going, which is not a good thing.
I get that, man. I mean, it's just kind of crazy because it's like already November 1st today.
Oh, gosh.
I don't understand. I mean, I feel like it's the older we get, or the older I get, the more time just kind of goes.
Yeah. Every day is like a smaller percentage of your life, so it feels like it goes a little bit quicker.
It does.
All is well. I find myself like little bits of me looking forward to January 1st. I don't want another year to pass. I hate New Year's personally, but
okay.
You know, then you get that fresh start. So I'm okay with it.
Why? Why do you hate New Year's?
Because I've always been nostalgic, you know, like when we would graduate from 5th grade, and instead of being excited to go into middle school, I was kind of sad for the end of something. But I don't know. I think I've just always been a softie when it comes to that kind of thing.
It's an end of an era, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a new beginning, but the kind of crazy thing is just another day.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. That's what I got to tell myself. Last New Year's was not my favorite. I signed up I got asked to host a party in Atlanta, and I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I had hosted a TV show one time for the Tennis Channel, so I was like, all right, you know, get into this. Be a personality, whatever. But yeah, I found out very quickly that it's a skill, knowing how to run the show, and things were a little bit kind of out of whack at this particular event.
Okay.
I'm finding myself in front of a lot of people who paid a lot of money to be at this, like, it was like a runway show mixed with an art show, and it was a little bit of a mess. So I'm looking forward to this New Year's, doing it on my time, my way, hanging with my friends, being chill. We'll see what happens. But yeah, man.
Hosting anything is definitely a challenge, but when you talk about money and all those things and having to put on an event, it's definitely a lot. You know, we just hosted a Halloween party, and it's like nonstop, putting everything together for like just such a quick period of time. But, you know, I think that spending, you know, New Year's, Christmas, whatever it is, you know, with the people that you care about most, is always way more gratifying than, you know, trying to put on this big thing for a whole bunch of people that you probably really don't care too much about.
I definitely, well, for sure, when other people are paying, you feel a responsibility. That's like why coming out of college, I played college tennis, and I was going to try to teach some tennis lessons as a kid to make some money on the side while I went for this whole acting thing. And I did one, and I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm going to let somebody pay me $75 for an hour when I really felt like I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, man, I'd always rather just be with my people. I like the smaller, intimate events, or a house party, or I'm so over the bar, the club scene.
Yes.
I don't need it anymore. I sometimes feel like I should be more into it, and maybe I need to do better with my networking skills or whatever, but it just, if it's not like this, if it's not an intimate conversation, I don't feel like I'm very good at it anyways. So so yeah, man, I'm always craving just it's a good connected talk. We've had a couple of them. You and I have been able to develop a little bit of a friendship on the side since the first time we met.
Oh, for sure.
We spent 4th of July together this year, which
we
fun.
did. That was a blast, man.
Brox, you got the host in you. I think you spent about 2 hours building a grill for us that day, and then cooked meat for the whole party. So it was you're a good man. You're a leader.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I absolutely love cooking, you know, and cooking and for people. I don't know why. I guess I've always just enjoyed it, and allows me to kind of like zone out. And what's kind of funny is a lot of people do look at me as like this outgoing and very talkative individual. But to be honest, man, I internally I'm not really that person, right?
Interesting.
Obviously I love podcasts and I love deep intellectual conversations, but like a lot of like the fluff nonsensical conversations I guess I don't like so much. And like going to parties and bars and all that shit, I'm just like so over that stuff. And like you just said, maybe we could all be better at that, but I don't know, like there's just something
when you feel yourself the inauthenticity coming out, when you feel yourself trying to make the small talk. I've always considered myself more of an extrovert, but the older I get, I'm like, am I an extrovert, or do I just like talking to people that I like talking to? Like when I'm one-on-one, again, like I feel really comfortable, love to get deep. But when there's a big group and I'm kind of jockeying for position, especially as an actor, and you're meeting VIPs and all that, I don't know, I'm not very good at it. It's like I feel myself just watching myself and trying to say the right thing. Even today I was like, dude, just talk, forget there's cameras, forget there's anybody around, because sometimes it can be just tough, and then having to censor yourself these days and say the right things. And but people see through it. They want a real person. Just talking about my story, since I met you last, or since we met, I did a really cool thing. At the end of 2020, I went and lived on a dive boat in the Bahamas for 2 months.
Holy crap!
Yeah, so my show, The Oval, I think I was just starting when we did our first podcast show with Tyler Perry, and we shot seasons 2 and 3 in a bubble. So it was in 2020.
Yep.
Or season 2 was in 2020, and I was in the bubble environment and just kind of had a lot of time to think. And I'm like, I gotta go for life more. I gotta find those dreams that I've had since I was a kid, and find a way to them. So I love sharks. I've always been a shark lover. I'm the kid who watches Shark Week every year. And so it's always been a dream of mine to kind of get on one of those research boats and just be in the middle of it. So got out of the bubble after we shot our season of the show, and I'm like, one way or another, I'm going to find a way to get on Shark Week. It might be 10 years later. So I started DMing a couple like shark scientists that are on the Discovery Channel, thinking it would take a little bit of time. I was actually, me and my girl were having a little bit of an argument. So I was at home on a Friday night, in the doghouse, and I was watching old reruns. And I looked, this guy, Riley Elliott, he had an episode on an old rerun from Shark Week. So I went to his Instagram, happened to click on his link, and it was the last day that I could send in an application to be on the first Shark Week series, docu-reality series. It ended up being called Shark Academy. Anyways, so that was probably in August of 2020, and by November, I had been chosen to be one of 8 recruits, and had no idea what I was getting myself into. First time really that I was going to do any kind of reality TV. And when I left, Ashley was like, my girlfriend was like, just be you, just be authentic. That's all you got to do, and the chips will fall. Because it was kind of a competition sort of thing to be the next great shark researcher and go on an expedition. And for 2 months, man, I had some of the most incredible experiences of my life, but I never could forget the camera, man. I could never just like be me. So I'm stuck in the middle of the ocean on a boat that's rocking back and forth, and just face to face with sharks, but it also kind of felt like a prison, man, because
no way.
I couldn't let go the act of being kind of who I thought I needed to be, play the character. I'm the actor, and I'm used to being good at things. And then once the producers of a show like that sort of see who they want you to be, then they're pushing you, and I aim to please. So it was a crazy experience, but by the end of it, I was face to face with a 15-foot tiger shark, no cage.
What?
Literally, at the bottom of I don't know if it's the Caribbean or the Atlantic or what even ocean I was in, but Yeah, and that's one of those experiences. The further it gets away, the more grateful I am that I did it. You know, it's just like all the hard stuff, kind of the challenges float away, and you have it. You have those crazy experiences, and it made me more of a man. I came back and I realized just how easy I have it, how I can float through each day and not really have to push myself all that much.
Wow.
And when I was on this boat, and you get a little spoiled, right? As an actor, I'm on a TV show and they're bringing you your coffee and you're served. And I always feel a little uncomfortable with how well I am treated on set. And then you get to this environment shooting a reality show for Shark Week, and they were trying to break you down. So I'm up at 6 a.m., cleaning the decks of the boat and free diving 30 feet down, trying to screw a transceiver on while holding my breath, while they're putting you up with the girl who you have the most friction with. So it was crazy, but it made me a better man. I definitely came back and felt like I was tougher for it, and it just reminded me how all the good stuff is on the other side of discomfort and
oh,
challenge.
for sure. It's called Shark Academy.
It's called Shark Academy. Yeah, I think you can still go see it. 6 episodes.
Pull it on up real quick. I want to check it out.
Discovery Plus. And it was the first ever series that they did. So it was 6 one-hour episodes. The beginning, we were with little baby sharks, and then we're cage diving with bull sharks. We caught a pregnant mama bull shark, and we put a 10-year tracking tag in her.
No way.
Free diving with hammerheads. I hope you can find some footage from it, but it was absolutely there. Yeah.
Oh shoot! Yeah. There we go, Shark Academy. And so
that's me in the first and second picture there. Go down. Yeah. That's.
Can you? Wait, which one? Season?
Well, that's episode 2. That's my face right there.
Oh, literally, that's you right there.
That's me. Yeah.
What happens when you click on it?
It'll probably bring.
It's on Animal Planet, so they're gonna.
Oh, okay, yeah. A little paywall.
Yeah.
Damn, but that's crazy. So that's you right there, Shark Academy.
Yeah.
And how many? 6 episodes you said?
They did 6 episodes, and
that looks like Prince Harry.
Yeah, that's Riley right there. That's the star of the show, and he was tough on me too because he was playing a personality as well. They wanted him to be the tough guy, and so every chance he got, he would rip me a new one, and get people laughing at me and making me look like the stuck-up bastard. All good.
So wait, you're literally on this boat for 2 months straight, nonstop.
Yeah, we quarantined in Miami in a hotel room. I spent 1 week in a hotel room. Literally without leaving, and then they brought us. I thought I would be in an apartment, right? So I thought we'd shoot all day, and then I'd have my own little condo to go back to. And the first thing they did, they put us on a dinghy, and they brought us out to this 100-foot dive boat where I slept in a room half the size of the room we're in now, with 3 other adult males. So we were in bunk beds. My bed is just like a little single. And yeah, that was the start of it. So I think that was like November 1st, and we finished December 17th.
Wow.
2020.
Did you have any connection to like the outside world? Could you call home or anything like that?
Very little. We weren't supposed to, but we could send a text out here and there. There wasn't very good. The connection was pretty crappy, anyways. But one of the craziest experiences. So Thanksgiving came around, and I'm like, God, they're going to for sure give us a day off. We're going to get a good meal and just be able to relax. And so Thanksgiving morning comes. They're like, everybody out on the deck. All right, you have 30 seconds. As a shark researcher, you need to know how to survive a shipwreck. So we're putting you on a deserted island, and you have to survive. You have 5 items from this table. So we take the spear and the knife and the machete. Anyways, we get on this island, and I'm thinking, all right, they'll put us here for 5-6 hours, and then we'll get to go and get comfy on Thanksgiving evening and have a dinner. And we were there for 4 days and 3 nights, sleeping under the stars. Wow. Literally, I had 5 sips of water the entire time. We had to catch our own food, so we spearfished and got gray snapper. We got conchs and busted them open. Had to start our own fire. This was one where I kind of had a good moment. So there's trash all up and down the beach, which is sad because this is literally like a deserted island, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. but you go scavenge and you find all sorts of cool stuff. So I found this aerosol can rusted, and I'm like, this could be good. So the team was trying to start a fire with the flint, and it wasn't working. And I'm like, let me get in here, and shot the aerosol, did scrape the flint, and boom, we had a fire. So that was
no way.
That was a little victory that felt cool. But the worst part of that was, well, there's two really, really tough parts. It was one, we had no idea how long we were going to be there. Yeah. So they just put us there, and they're like, all right, go for it. And I realized that just living in the unknowing is tough. The no-see-ums, right? So we had some wind going when we first got there, and the bugs weren't bad. But as soon as the wind died down, we were just in an infestation of little tiny flies, and they eat you alive. I was covered. Like, I had long pants and a long shirt on, but there's nothing you could do.
No-see-ums?
Yeah, like little sand.
Can we look at that?
Yeah,
I want to see what a no-see-um is.
Yeah, you can't see them. They just...
It's like a fly?
Yeah, they're little tiny, like essentially microscopic flies mixed with the sand flies, and no matter what, there was, unless you were in the water or you got some wind, these things are just eating you alive.
Let me check this out. Hold on.
Yeah.
Go back to the Wikipedia thing. I want to read about it real quick. All right, it's how is he pronounce that?
Yeah, I don't know if there's an actual name. Okay, so there you go.
Some species of no-see-ums can bite, similar to mosquitoes. It's the females that cause the bites. No-see-um bites look like clusters of little red dots on your skin. While they can stay small, they often swell, enlarging to 1 or 2 inches in diameter, and can become painful and tender. Holy shit.
So one of the guys, Austin, who became like my closest confidant on the show, we had one of those, second day in, top of the boat talks where we were, talking about life and death and everything in between, and, essentially 2 grown men on the verge of tears. But anyways, it's funny how those moments bring you together. Anyways, so Austin and I became very close, but he had quite a reaction to these no-see-ums. So every inch of his legs were just like red dots, and they scar up. So everybody took it. It affects everybody a little bit differently, but it was gnarly, man. It broke me. That was my one moment where I kind of had a moment. I was worried. I was like, God, dude, this could end me. There was a girl. She was a Colombian girl, and she had a lot of spice, right? and she would kind of micromanage and tell you what to do, but not always contributing, right? So there was one night I couldn't sleep while we were on this island, and I was the fire dude. I just went like probably 15 trips throughout the middle of the night to go get firewood, keep us warm, kind of kept the flies away. And the next morning, she was trying to kind of take credit for it, and then she was like, "Yeah, Brad, get the firewood." We were trying to make a signal fire, anything we could think of to let hopefully get these producers to get us off the island. Anyways, and I lost it, and I find, what did I say? I was like, "You do nothing. You have contributed nothing to this group." And like my crazy eyes came, like, the ones that my family only sees when I have that crazy moment, and I'm like, oh my God. So it turned out the way they edited it was pretty fair. So it definitely wasn't my proudest moment, but I think it at least the audience probably saw that there was reason why I may have kind of lost my mind a little bit, but we made amends and all was well. But after a long time of not eating and not going to the bathroom because you're dehydrated and nothing's coming out, even if it has to come out, and they
don't give you any water or anything.
We went with like a, I don't know, 2-gallon jug or something for the 8 of us. So we just had to make that manage. We had to divvy it up, but that was part of what I started to realize throughout the days was there were certain tasks that we had to accomplish, and they had to get the shot. And until we accomplished that, they weren't letting us off the island. So we had to find water.
How the heck did you do that?
Still not sure if it was planted or not. You wonder about these things, but I searched all over that island. I was climbing trees, and in the middle of the island there was like a little pond, and I didn't have a great feeling about it because the mangroves were surrounding it. And mangroves are plants, one of the only plants that can grow in salt water. anyway, so like we'd go on these epic hikes and for 3 hours and you're just sweating and you know, to find salt water. Eventually, one of the scouting groups found a little pit, and it's like a little curious. It's like, why on the middle of this island would there be one hole where there's fresh water? But so I think it was planned, but it was cool because after that we then had to filter it, right? So I learned some really cool tasks. We found some like a gallon of milk cartridge or an old gallon of milk, whatever, plastic on the beach. And so we had that upside down, put like some cloth over the end, and then we got charcoal from the fire, sand, pine needles, another layer of sand, and basically created our own filter. So I actually took some things from that experience that I feel like if I had to survive, I'd be way more likely to be able to. So it made me tougher. Again, it was an amazing experience. And as soon as I was pissed at the guy, Riley, the guy who was the host of the show. I'm like, you know, a real leader would be out here with us. My grandfather was a general, and he led his troops, and he never left them. And so he's got the feed back on the boat, and he kind of brings up these moments. But as pissed as I was, as soon as you get back on that boat and you've accomplished that mission, first of all, it's emotional because you're like so stressed and you're holding so much in and trying to keep it together, and you're being filmed for a TV show, and you're weak. And so as soon as we sat and I actually talked to him on camera for the on the fly interview, I was grateful for it. And I was just like, I get it now. You know, I see why you have to test us, and kind of reminds me why, you know, the Navy SEALs have to go through, what is it, BUDS?
BUDS.
These tough trainings, because once you get into a tough situation, life or death, especially if it's real, you're going to be grateful that you had to suffer to, you know, prove to yourself you could do
100%.
it. So.
Wow, that's incredible, man. Like that, like going through that experience, with all of its ups and downs, it definitely had to feel very rewarding at the end, right? To even just have that experience in general, right?
Yeah. It was rewarding that I went out on a limb and sent in a videotape for an unpaid job, by the way. Like,
no way.
I get overpaid as an actor. I must admit, you know, sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, this is fun. I don't deserve this. But yeah, we didn't get paid a dime, and gave 2 months of my life and put myself out there, you know, obviously say the wrong thing and get yourself in trouble or whatever. So yeah, I was proud to take the risk to begin with, and then just to kind of overcome all these things. It was really rewarding, for sure.
Absolutely.
The only thing that I would change if I could do it all again would be to somehow just be me, more me. You know? Not edit myself, not sit there and it's weird. I don't get nervous to talk to anybody, but when Riley was around, the guy who's judging the competition, I just would tense up and I didn't know what to say. And before I would say anything, I'm kind of like, oh, is this the right thing? And it just sucks. And people can feel it too, you know?
100%. Yeah. That's like the strange thing about being on camera, especially these reality-based TV shows where it's not who you truly are, right? I mean, having someone follow you around 24/7 with a camera, that is not normal, right? And then having to, especially in this day and age, censor yourself, right? I could definitely see how it's a challenge, right? How anyone does it blows my mind. But you know, I totally can understand why it's a very weird feeling. Yeah. You know, going through that.
One of the only other times that I feel that, there's a few, but one specifically is in the casting room when you're auditioning for any kind of acting job. And it's crazy because when I'm on set, I never feel more free. Once I've been chosen for a job. I probably talked to you about this the last time I was here, but Tyler Perry, who's my boss and writes and directs and produces the show I'm on, and basically who I've worked with for the past 6 years, he would give me, you know, that feedback after we'd shoot and just say, I love how free you are. I love working with you. I just love how free you are, which is amazing. But it takes, I guess, the initial validation for me to get to a point. And also, there's no other choice. Once you're on the job, once you're on set, it's like, you better go for it. You better give it all you have. And then that's the best of me. The best version of me comes out. But when I'm in a casting room, which doesn't really exist anymore.
Why is that? Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no. So everything used to be, you'd go into a casting office, run around LA and sit in front of one or two people who may or may not even be looking at you while they eat their lunch, and you're supposedly auditioning after you put hours into the process. But since COVID, everything's a self-tape now.
Okay.
So every one of my auditions for the past couple of years, you're at home in your little home studio, you know, begging your girlfriend to read lines with you, or searching around for anybody to help you out, and then you send that tape in. So it's changed the experience a lot. Even then, though, even without being in the room with casting, I still find myself, you know, in that kind of self-edit, self-judgment mode, and then you're not getting any feedback, so you sort of wonder, like, what's going right, what's going wrong. Because as an actor, you might audition 100 times, and if you get 2, 3, 4 of those jobs, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
when you go a whole year and you've done 50 auditions and you haven't got one, you lose sight of the numbers game, and you just start to question yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's my goal as an actor. Is I just had this thought yesterday. I was preparing for an audition I shot this morning, and I wrote a note to myself. I made it as my wallpaper on my phone, and it was like, do every audition as if it was a scene in the Oval, and give it the full commitment that you would. So point being is, right or wrong, if I'm making the choices that casting wants to see, or the writer or director wants to see, it doesn't really matter, because if I don't go full commitment, then it's not going to work anyways.
Yeah.
Then it's like that authenticity thing again that we're talking about, right? So you might as well give them your take, be confident, go all out, and if it's not right, it's not right. Cool, you know, they got to find that perfect spot for you, and then once you get it and you're on, you know, you have your opportunity, you're on set, then the world is your oyster. So
100%. One thing, sorry, off topic real quick. We're getting new chairs for sure, and I see you keep on adjusting yourself. I do apologize about that. We were just talking about that the other day. I'm pushing my ass like all the way to the back.
Here we go.
Right?
All right. I'm just a fidgety dude.
No, I know, but like, it's just something that I've noticed recently is everyone's like, you know, because it's not the most comfortable chair. So I do apologize. Do you think, you know, the change because of because of COVID and the pandemic and everything like that, especially in your industry, do you think self-taping is ever going to go back? Because like, that just seems like I don't know. That just seems like weird. It's kind of weird that there's, you know, gatekeepers, and it's not always based off of like who's the best person, right? It's not like a meritocracy, but what do you think, it'll stay this way or ever go back to the way it was?
Yeah, I've had a couple conversations with casting, and it sounded like they were going to try to, you know, maybe some of the bigger roles, or some of the, you know, the series leads or leads of movies or whatever. But in my experience so far, other than a couple commercial auditions, which are few and far between for me now, it's all been from home. So I think it also has given casting directors a little bit of ability to be lazy.
I'm sure.
You know, who knows if they're watching all these tapes that come in.
Yeah.
I think there might be a quota, like they have to, maybe a union thing where they have to audition a certain amount of people. So then you wonder, you're like, are they just receiving my tape because they have to receive a certain amount of auditions, but they already have their guy, which happens all the time. I mean, I've been in that situation where I had a role and I heard about friends who were auditioning for the role that I had already basically been promised from the production, you know, or from the people making the calls. So
yeah, definitely. Damn, man.
Yeah. So
wow. When you gear up for a self-tape or just getting ready for a role, or, you know, the latest episode of The Oval, what is your creative process like preparing for this?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an ever evolving thing. Well, The Oval is a unique acting job because we shoot at light speed. So
what does that mean?
Tyler Perry specifically, is known to shoot really fast. So my first show with him, we did like 45 pages a day, which was already insane, right? Normal productions, 5 to 7 maybe. And with the Oval, we've gotten to 110. So we literally shoot a primetime TV show with millions of viewers, and we get great numbers. And we're in our 4th season right now. I don't know what, we do 22 episode seasons. We shot the past couple of seasons of 22 episodes in 8 days of shooting.
Wait, what?
8. So you go do basically like a play. You got 3 cameras, if not more, at all times. Usually I might say my lines 1.5 times, but typically I'm prepared to go and do my scene once. So so it's really unique. Like you get the scripts maybe, 3 weeks ahead of time, if you're lucky. And I'm at a coffee shop or at home or wherever. I got to mix it up, and you got to drill the lines, which is also kind of a trap because, a lot of acting teachers are not going to tell you to go and just memorize first. You can get into line reads, and you can kind of be more performative rather than connecting with the material, right? So it's really unique. So most of my acting training that I've done here is with a coach named Leslie Kahn in Los Angeles, and her big thing is it's the thought behind the line.
Okay.
So a couple little anecdotal type things. I don't know if that's the right word, but she'll say, like, on a typical page of a script, if you shrink all the words and like take all the spaces away, about 92% of the page is white space. So your job as an actor is to fill the white space, which I really love because that kind of opens up that whole freedom thing, and just realizing like it's not all about the words on the page. It's just giving it life, filling it up with thoughts and subtext, and other coaches might call it intention or whatever. So point is, every line of the script, I'll go in for every piece of punctuation. I'm finding the thought behind that line. So the line might be, I love you, right? But the thought might be, I hate you. So she would, sometimes when you're practicing, it might be like, you say, it's called thoughts out loud. So I hate you, I love you. And that's kind of helping you to see the juice behind that line, because a lot of what we say as humans it's not the meaning of the words always, right? Correct. So I don't know if I'm doing justice on kind of describing that process, but the point is to get away from just playing the meaning of the lines, which can be a big trap. I'm always trying to figure out what the character is thinking behind the line that they're saying.
Is it hard to memorize all of this in such a short period of time? Because I can barely remember what the fuck I did yesterday.
Yeah, and I find myself like questioning my memory more and more. Like people, I feel like, remember things so much better than I do. So it definitely is like a weird thing that I can remember these lines somehow. You put in the work, like it's life or death, right?
Of course.
If you don't do it, you're gonna fail. So somehow you figure it out. But you go without much sleep, and so there's some days where I was on set till midnight and then had 50 pages the next day. So I was up till 2:30 and then calling my dang dad to run lines at 7:30 in the morning until I get on set, and somehow it always works out, man.
Wait a minute. Within a day's period of time, you can memorize over 50 pages worth of work. Obviously, it's not all 50 pages of you, but...
No, I'm saying, like, legitimately, I've had days where my character shot in one day 50 pages of dialogue. Now, again, I had that for 3 weeks leading up.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, I don't know how it works, man. Like I would go shoot a scene and then have a costume change. We have like 5 minutes to change outfits and come back on. And I have a reader who they provide readers, which is really nice. Just people basically like interns who are there if you need to run lines. So I'm putting on my tie and getting mic'd up and like running the scene that I'm about to go do. And hanging on by a thread, man. It's like production is like bailing water from a sinking ship. You're just trying to get through. So I look forward to when I'm on show, and I've done a lot of other things where it's more traditional, but this is like, it's like overloading in the gym, right? You put 225 pounds on the bar, and you do a negative, and then you throw 138.5 on, and it feels light. So I feel like working with Tyler Perry, it's sort of like that. Like you just get challenged to like the furthest degree. You do the best you can. Sometimes I watch a scene and I'm like, ooh, wish I could have had that one over again. But then when you go and you have 5 to 7 takes with a different director, if not more sometimes, it makes you grateful, and yeah, it's like everything. You get uncomfortable, you push yourself to a limit, and then you get a little bit stronger. But yeah, so I'm excited for the next show someday, where we can be a little more precious. I respect everything that Tyler's done, and he's done it because it was his way to create massive amounts of content. Yeah. Build his studio, which is in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's absolutely incredible. It's like 350 acres on an old military base. But that actually leads me to a movie that I did with Tyler last year, which I wanted to come and talk to, called A Jazzman's Blues.
Okay. So, tell me about it.
Yeah, so working on season, I believe, 3 of The Oval, I had like 12 episodes of material in one day because my character got locked in a jail cell.
Okay.
And I was feeling a little unsure about it, and got through it anyways. And when I walked out from this like monster session, Tyler pulled me aside and he's like, "Hey, you got time to read a script?" I'm like, "No." No, we're doing this crazy thing, we're 8 days of shooting the whole thing. But of course I said yes. So I went back to my room and read the whole thing, and it was incredible. It was the script for A Jazzman's Blues, which was Tyler's first screenplay he ever wrote. Wow. About 27 years ago. And so that led to an audition. But anyway, so something he saw in that scene work I did on the Oval, which I was unsure about, he saw like, oh, I can see, this character, Sheriff Jackson, in Brad. So I guess this was, early spring of 2021. We finished shooting, didn't hear anything for a few days, and I was just like, desperate to be a part of this, but I also didn't want to look desperate. Yeah. Which later on I'm all over the place, but hopefully it all makes sense to people listening. But later on down the line, Tyler was like, "Man, I really wanted you to tell me, like, if you love it, I wanted to hear you say, I want this role. Like, please give me the role, or let me do it." But I was hesitant to do that because I didn't want to look, desperate or put any pressure on him. I wanted him to choose me because he wanted me. So it was interesting to hear that he actually wanted to hear my excitement. Yeah. Just something to take with myself or with me in the future.
I get that.
Put myself on tape, and a couple days later, I got a text from him, and he said, "Your tape was perfect. There's an offer coming." And I was just like, oh my God, like I knew this one was going to be special. Definitely my favorite film that I've been a part of, probably my favorite, acting experience that I've been a part of so far. Go check it out on Netflix. We were number 2 movie on Netflix a couple weeks ago. Wow. I don't know. I think we premiered on maybe September 11th. I'm losing my days here, but, so that shot in the summer of 2021. We were like all throughout Georgia, in kind of the backwoods of Georgia, in Savannah, and then some at his studio. But we shot that one way more like a traditional movie. So this was kind of the first thing that I'm aware of where Tyler slowed down, and he was going to just give everything a bit more attention. I think it was our hair team or the makeup team. I think it was the hair team, like a week before, had just won an Oscar for a film the year before. Our DP shot a film that I loved called Short Term 12 back in 2012. Brett Pollock is his name. So there were all these pieces of the movie coming together that I was like, wow, I'm about to be a part of something that's really special here. Yeah, yeah. And it was really awesome. I yet again play a white racist in the my character's set in the 1940s. I'm pretty much always play a scumbag these days.
It makes sense.
But yeah, no, hey,
no. But what's the movie about?
So Yeah, I gotta be better at the whole logline thing. But basically, it's a forbidden love story, and there's a bit of a mystery involved, but I'll leave that part out. But the point is, back in the 40s in the South, there's a black couple who the girl is very light-skinned, and she passes for white, which I had never really heard about before. So it's kind of like just a new angle of this whole thing.
Yeah.
So she's in a forbidden, or she falls in love with my brother, who's the mayor of the town, and I'm the sheriff. And she and her love from the past, who's a black man, have to kind of find a way to hide the fact that they're, have something going on from us. So, God, that was the worst description of.
No, but I got it. I got it.
The point is,
you can't
we're the well-to-do white family in the town,
Yeah.
and she is posing as a white girl, and she's meanwhile having a secret relationship from her teenage flame. And yeah, it's really, really cool.
How did you, because obviously, I'll get that ready for you.
All right.
Obviously, you're not really a white racist, and this is not who you are. You're a warm, gentle, great human being, right? But to dive into something like that, that's, a very dark place, right? How does one even prepare for something like that? And probably some of the lines that you had to say and things are just so unnatural.
Yeah. So when I have done interviews before and had to kind of think about this, because when you're doing your process, you don't really, you don't always have perspective on how you're going about it. But I would say, like with any character, you have to somehow empathize with that character. All right, I'm going to try my best at this.
It's all good.
A little inexperienced.
Oh, no worries. Just don't inhale.
I like to inhale.
Well,
that's my problem. Every time I've ever smoked a cigar,
you
I
might get a
inhale,
little
and
nauseous if you inhale.
I might be puking. All right.
Yeah. Tyler, you want one, old man?
I'm all right.
All right. Continue.
All right. So, sorry, Mom. My mom, like, she's such a sweetie, but like, if I wasn't allowed to say butt growing up, I had to say Heine, or
sounds worse.
I had to say tinkle. I couldn't say piss. So,
Sorry, Mom.
So yeah, so sorry, Mom, for the cigar, but
Yes.
We're doing guy stuff here.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so yeah, you have to somehow empathize. So there's no way I could actually get down with what this character's thinking, but I think that's also where you kind of just use the thoughts again. So it's maybe you relate it to something else, or you find this angry, evil thought, and then just deliver the line with that. It's not easy, It actually was funny because after one of the days of filming, I got a call from Tyler, and he was kind of feeling me out, and I wasn't sure what he was trying to get out of me. But he was like,
totally inhaled.
I know. Yeah. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Like, I know I know this isn't you. You're a good guy. I need that evil. I need you to bring that darkness. So I guess he thought maybe he was like, I love what you're doing. It was all love, but then also just kind of giving me that permission to go dark,
Yeah.
and get nasty. Which was cool. I mean, it was cool to have a director who cared enough to make that call after 14 hours on set, and everybody's just tired, and yet he still wanted to talk to his actor and make sure I felt safe, and yeah. So I think you just let yourself lean in, and if you have to substitute it for something else, you got to substitute it for something else.
Yeah.
But we all have a dark side, man. I mean, we have anger. We have, I don't want to, I mean, I'm not a hateful guy, but there's hate for things inside of me, right? So like,
it's within all of us.
Yeah. So
all of us.
I think once you just give yourself permission to like take away the safety net, the editing, then you can kind of just play make believe and find peace with it, because you're helping to tell a story that might educate people and make us all a little bit better.
Of course.
So yeah, it's cool. Like ever since 2016, like I said, with Tyler, I've done 4 projects with him, and I've been a total scumbag, whether I'm misogynist, racist, wife beater, whatever. And there was a couple times that early on I got tweets like, you homophobe, you racist, you this and that. And that was like, actually, that was one time where I was like, this person actually is like associating me with my character. But the more time that goes on, people are clear to say, I hate you so much, you're doing a great job. I'll see people on the street, and the few times I get recognized or whatever, like, oh my God, I hate you so much, you're a piece of shit, you're doing awesome.
Yes.
It's fun. I had a guy, his name's Matt Battaglia. He's an actor. A lot of you would probably recognize him if you looked him up.
You want to pull him up real quick? Matt Battaglia?
Battaglia. He played the president in my first show with Tyler, Too Close to Home. I think he was on Friends. He was like the hot fireman on Friends.
Okay. Let me see.
People know him.
Yeah. So Matt Battaglia.
There you go.
Yeah. I remember him. Yeah. He. Yep. I remember him. In Friends for sure.
That's he's done a ton of stuff.
There we go. What a handsome man.
I think that's how I would remember him best. So he
shout out to Matt.
Yeah, he was way more experienced than me, and he talked to me after we finished our second season of that show, and he's like, man, if I got to play one of these, dark bad guy characters, antagonists, I would just lean as far in as I could. I would be doing lines of coke, and I'd be slapping the girls and whatever he said.
Yeah,
he
was
was basically just like, have fun with it.
Yes.
Go for it. Because I still found myself earlier on, and this was like the first time I'd played like a character who actually had an arc, a storyline, kind of wanting to find the angle where I could somehow, some way be the hero someday. And that's gone. So with my current character, Kyle, on the Oval, I'm just totally leaning into the scumbag aspects, and it's fun, man. And I think people appreciate it, and why not? Go for it. We're playing make believe, and
of course,
I'm not going to be this guy in real life. And I think I've got my body count is probably up to, I don't know, 15 or 20 people. I get to shoot ARs and have car flips, and I've blown up cars, and had at least one good fist fight every season, which is one of my favorite things to do. Just the choreography. So to do a choreography,
how does that even happen?
Scene in light speed is even crazier, because ultimately I've ended up. I think they have a stunt person there for you, and they teach you the choreography, but I have like a lot of pride that I wanna like pull off as much of it as I can. And so I think in every scene, big fight scene I've had so far in the Oval, ultimately my stunt double was like on the side, and he's like, sweet, I just got paid to not have to get my ass kicked today, and I got to do it all. But yeah, we have a great stunt coordinator, Jan Drawn. So you just find,
what a great name.
Yeah,
Jan Drawn.
I think he's like our Jean-Claude Van Damme. Maybe he's from Belgium or something. But a total badass, military guy, and just one of those dudes you tease and you push him, and he's just a rock. Like he's not like this huge dude, but he's just hard, and he'll mess with you and give you a gut punch, and you're like, oh my God, like I thought he was just tapping me, and I'm down on the ground. So
wait, they actually really hit you?
Yeah, well, okay, so that this is just messing around. He's just that asshole who's gonna, give you clock you when you're not looking, just to mess around. But yes, like when we do our fight scenes, there's a good bit of physicality. Like they'll give you body armor. So,
body armor.
There's been a time, actually I didn't wear it, but I had to kick a guy in the stomach, and so they gave him like a plate of Kevlar or whatever.
Okay.
So you can kind of give it a little bit more. And it makes me realize if I was in a real fight, you feel a little less than you think until, you know, afterwards you're a little sore, but in the moment your adrenaline's going and you're just going for it. So, you know, you're not going to give like full punches in the face. I made that mistake once and
no way.
I told the girl, her name's
Oh, it was a girl.
Yeah, I told Sierra, it was in season 1 of The Oval, and she was going to backhand me. You know, I'm having an affair with her husband, believe it or not, right?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, went there. So that was another scary new thing. Anyways, I gave her permission. I was like, you just you know, give me a real slap. And I think she was even wearing like a wedding ring, and she rocked me. And I learned that there's a reason why you do the 2 inches away from the face and you sell it with the reaction. So that's the big thing with fights, is like the most important thing is one, like, big roundhouse punch. It's not about good form. It's just making it look big and hard and scary, and the grunts, and then the biggest part is the reaction. So if you're gonna punch me, I'm the one who has to sell it. I gotta, really throw my head, and that's where a lot of the good stuff comes from. So
wow. So wait, when someone's actually like, so if like you're getting punched in the face, right? Do you even like connect with the person, or is it you just get really close and then the person moves out of the way?
Yeah. So typically there's not really much, like on a face punch, there's not going to be a lot of physical connection.
Okay.
If we're got a sequence and it's body, face or whatever, I'm going to tap him, but you're not going to go full in. But it's all camera angles. So I don't even know like how to set it up, but if you put the camera in the right spot and you kind of screen the fist so they can't actually see it, then you can be 5 inches away from somebody's face. And as long as the camera's in the right position, you got the right angles, and the person sells it with their reaction, then you're good to go.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, being a little inexperienced, a lot of my fight scenes are with an actor. His name's Bill Barrett. He plays Max on the show, and we're both kind of new to it, and so we're all like overhyped, and so we've gotten a little aggressive. I accidentally gave him an elbow, like in rehearsal, like a real elbow in the face. Yeah, and he had a big scratch on his face. So it's a learning curve, and you see why things are done the way they are.
Yeah,
but yeah, you learn pretty quickly. If they offer you knee pads or elbow pads, you take them.
Wait, elbow pads? How do they cover that?
I wear a suit, so I mean, it depends. Okay. If you don't have the clothes to cover it up, then you might be in trouble. But the first stunt I ever did was on a Lifetime movie, I don't know, 12 years ago, and I was in the bathroom getting beat up. I was picking up a female, a high school hooker.
Okay,
right?
A high school hooker.
Yeah. So I'm the John, and in the John. And anyways, her pimp comes up and he beats me up, and it was one of my first movie roles, and I wanted to be tough, and they're like, "You want a hit pad?" I'm like, "No, I'm good," and went down and just yeah.
You got rocked.
Yeah, you get rocked, and you're trying to be tough, and then you don't want to ask afterwards, can I get the pads? But that was another experience where you learn quickly, like, take the pads, man. Don't be tough.
Yeah. I mean, we let our pride and our ego get the best of us, right?
Yeah, like it's going to make it better somehow. Oh, they're going to think I'm tough and a better actor because I didn't take the knee pads. It's like, no, take the knee pads so the guy can jack you as hard as he wants, and it doesn't matter,
Does the knee pads or the protectant, does that really help out a lot?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you can take, I mean, with the body armor and the knee pads and all that, and especially, like I said, the adrenaline stuff, may you be sore potentially or get a bruise. Yeah, sure. But you could pretty much go all out and be okay. So again, face shots, that's not, you're not going to do that.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, with the padding and holding back a little bit, you can give it a pretty good,
a good punch.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible,
it's
man.
It's fun, man.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you see this all going? Like 5-10 years from now? Like, do you want to continue to do TV? Do you want to branch off more into film, especially having this latest experience, you know, having a movie come out on Netflix, correct?
I think, you know, the dream of all dreams would be a movie star, you know? So, like, if I could have 3 movies a year and you're prepping a role for a month or 2 and shooting for a couple months, I mean, some of these big deal movies, you know, big, like blockbusters might shoot for 6 months, but, you know, if you could go from one great project to another and do movies, that'd be the dream, right? And getting to see myself in a theater on the big screen for the first time was a lot of fun. But I've always been attracted to TV because I like to show up to work. And you want something consistent. So it changes, like, as I've built a career, some of your goals change. Like, some of the projects that I used to say, I'll pay to be a part of it. Now you're like, you know, I got quotes now, you know. You start to, you don't want to let your ego get out of control, but you also see how there is a career. There is, like, you have to, you know, you have to let your reps do their job, and you have to build your worth and all that. So that would be my biggest thing right now, like frustration with the show that I'm on, is that we shoot so quick. So it's great because I get paid per episode. So it doesn't matter if I do it in 6 months or 6 days. But I find my biggest challenge in life right now is the day-to-day when I don't have somewhere to show up. Before I had these shows, I used to coach CrossFit classes, or whatever odd job, and I thought I wanted to get out of that, but then when you have a lot of free time, you realize that it's like the worst thing for you. You know, I've kind of likened it to enablement. Maybe, I don't know if we all have that friend whose parents might have supported them, right? Yep. So you think, oh, they're so lucky, but then that friend might not really be going anywhere, right? Yep. And then I had that thought. I'm like, God, I just spent 5 days, and what the heck did I do, you know? Yeah. So having a quick paycheck and a quick job can be enabling, where you really have to have that self-fortitude to build a life, to build structure. And that's what I'm, like, really working on right now is, you know, maybe getting creative again. Before all this, I was making web series with my friends and shooting pilots, and I was out playing dive bars, doing music and all that. So I find myself, like, the nights where I go to bed just exhausted and can't wait to curl up and get away from the world are my favorite nights. If I'm making one little step forward, then I'm in a good place. But when I have too much time and am afforded the luxury to be lazy, not good.
It comes down to discipline, man, right? I mean, dude, you are very blessed in the sense that you are a working actor, right? I mean, people in your industry, they could only pray to be on a returning series, 4 series deep, Netflix movie, you know, everything that you've done up to this point, right? But right, having a lot of free time, it does come down to discipline. And you're so right what you said. As I remember being younger and looking at those friends where the parents would, you know, they'd be wealthy and these kids would have every single thing under the sun and just everything fucking handed to them. And then flash forward, you know, 20 years later, a lot of them are not doing in the best position, right? I kind of liken it to, not all, but a lot of times, you know, famous people's children, right? When they are given every single thing in their life, a lot of them find themselves down dark and dirty paths and, you know, are hooked to this drug and that drug and, you know, not achieving a lot in life when, you know, it's like, shit, you've been handed, you know, the world in your fucking palms. Like, why wouldn't you want to excel to the highest depths, you know, especially having such a head start in life compared to most. But unfortunately, that's not the case a lot of the times.
I mean, brain chemistry is crazy. So it's like, it's hard for me to wrap my head around, but it's like the chemicals in our brain are controlling the happy and the sad, but the actions you take in your life often are controlling those chemicals. And so we're looking for that dopamine hit, right?
Yes,
you know, we're looking for that next thing that just makes you happy. That's why people are on their phone. You go to, oh, I got a like, oh, I got a little bit of dopamine, boom. And a buddy just like 2 days ago referenced Huberman. It's
Andrew Huberman. Yep.
And his podcast, and he was like, you want to get those dopamine hits from the big hard tasks, not the easy, the freebies.
Yep.
You know, drugs and hookers, bad. You know, going and doing something challenging and making yourself work for it, great. And it's weird. It's like so much more sustaining, and then maybe your headspace is happier, so you can ride that wave of fulfillment for a longer time. But yeah, I see how people turn to drugs or turn to these things just trying to feel anything because they're not forced to go work to do things that give them, you know, that natural boost in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, it's so crazy, right? Because like, you know, at nighttime, and I know we've all done this, it's like you go on Instagram or social media, and then the next thing you know, it's like 2 hours later, and you're like, where the fuck did the night go? Like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and what the fuck have I been doing? Just scrolling, swiping. And that's why it's so important to start your day. Like for me, like I like to start my day doing the hardest thing possible, doing a hard fucking workout, you know, getting in the sauna, ice bath, doing all of these things, right? Obviously my ice bath I just got, and so it'll be set up very soon, and I'll be getting into it, and I'm already psyching myself out, right? Because it's outside, so it's like 42 degrees outside and a fucking 40-degree ice bath, right? But the way that you feel afterwards, the way that you feel after fucking putting in a hard workout, getting in the ice bath, like it just makes the rest of your day so much easier, and that's a long-lasting, you know, dopamine fix, if you will, which it obviously does, compared to that really quick dopamine hit that you get from scrolling through Instagram, where you just like, what the fuck did I just do?
Yeah, the ice bath is, I loved it when I came in. I saw your new setup.
Yeah.
We talked about it before in the sauna and everything. It's an interesting one. It's become so popular. A lot of people talking about the cold plunges, and it's, you know, been, I think, made more popular through all these podcasts, from Rogan to Huberman to whoever you listen to. A lot of the gurus are doing it.
Yes.
But it is cool. So I started reading Wim Hof's book and trying to learn the breathing. I want to get into all this even deeper, but I just converted a chest freezer into my cold plunge.
So before you dive deeper, please explain what that exactly is, how you did it.
Yeah, so I want to get one of these, what are they, Moroscos or plunge, but they're like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. They're not cheap. So
will you pull that up? It's called the Morescu cold plunge. Just type that in.
These things are cool. They look cool.
They're fucking dope. I think they're like 15, 20 grand, aren't they?
Oh my God, I don't know. I know that they're not cheap, but yeah. So I started a little bit more reasonable. I just moved into a house in June, which has been amazing. So
Congrats.
Finally getting out of rent controlled 1-bedroom apartment for 10 years. But I went to Costco and I got a chest freezer. Yeah. So there's the Morosco.
Yep.
Yeah, it's $13,000.
Woo, baby. Look at that one. 19 grand.
Looks a lot cooler than mine.
Fuck yeah. That one's sick though. Okay. Yeah.
I haven't been in when it's like icy on the top yet. I'm working my way down one step at a time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which I find works for me in everything. Little baby steps to get to that top of that mountain.
Absolutely. I think it's like 55 degrees but 47 is like obviously you get down to 37. That's obviously better, but like 47 degrees, 55, I believe, is considered like you're 55 to 58, something like that. It's considered a cold plunge. Okay. Right. Can you actually look that up real quick, Tyler? And then I want you to get that right. What is like, how cold does a cold plunge need to be, to, you know, get the benefits from it? But obviously there's just such a wide range of all of them, but I do like what you have done. So
I'm debating.
Okay, so right here it says, what temperature is cold plunge? Well, anything below 58 degrees Fahrenheit is a cold plunge. The temperature of the process is between 45 degrees and 55.
Okay, that's cool. So I started my first plunges at, I think, right around 55.
Perfect.
And then the coldest I've gone so far is 45. So
that's fun. The huge difference.
Huge difference.
Your fucking feet, bro. Your feet. Whoo, baby.
Yeah, it was wild how when I got down to 45, then it's actually like painful.
Yes, you know? But how you fucking feel when you get out?
It's hours of that you know, after a hard workout, you know, you sit on the couch and everything's just exhausted, but it feels so good. It's wild how the cold plunge, it probably has to do with like, you have to do the deep breathing and you have to, you know, find your presence and just be calm. And
how long do you do?
I'm just doing 3 minutes.
That's
right now.
perfect.
Yeah.
No, dude, that's it. That's all. 1 minute to 3 minutes is perfect, bro.
Yeah, I think they said, I don't know, maybe like 18 minutes a week in the cold plunge and like 57 in the 57 minutes in a sauna are kind of like the thresholds you want to meet to where you start getting some of these real benefits.
The hermetic effects. Yeah. Will you actually look that up? How many minutes a week should you be in a cold plunge to get the hermetic effect? I got to put my glasses on.
No, that's one of my favorite new words I'm starting to understand, hormesis. So
yes,
if you correct me if I'm wrong, the way I understand it is it's kind of like basically when you stress your body and your body then has to adapt. So the hormetic effect of the cold is like it makes your immune system and all your systems kind of pop into gear.
Yep.
And if you have short bursts of these stressors, then it's good and your body uses that to kind of be in prime condition. But if you're chronically stressed through, you know, inflammation from bad eating habits or whatever, then that chronic stress weakens it then goes the opposite direction. It weakens your immune system.
Yep.
And messes everything up.
100%.
So I'm obsessed with all this stuff right now.
Yeah, you definitely get it, right? So a cold plunge is when you fully submerge your body up to your neck, below 50, okay, all that shit. 2 to 4 sessions per week for 11 minutes long, right? Or for 11 minutes total time, right? Not long. That's a very long time. To cause measurable metabolic boosts, according to Dr. Suzanne Soberg. But yeah, definitely, right?
I just like that now there's research coming out that it actually is a positive effect. Like I knew it made me feel great from specifically the sauna, but I was never quite sure, like, is this actually bad for me? But yeah, all these studies that are coming out now, it sounds like it's a really good thing.
It's a game changer, right? I want to get back to, though, how you built out yours.
So I got the chest freezer and got some like Flex Seal, right? And you just seal up every little seam. And then I got a thermometer that goes in and you can set your range. So once it gets down to 45, it cuts off and on. So it's like a thermostat kind of deal. I want to get ozone to keep it clean. So right now I'll clean off, go in, and then shower off after, you know, so I don't know, my water might be a little
Wait,
scummy.
do you get into the hot shower after?
I have been doing, I usually get in and then I'll go cold again at the end of my shower just because I want my body to like have to reheat again, but I'm still learning. So if that's the wrong way to do it,
I believe it was Andrew Huberman says, can you actually look this up too, Tyler? Thank you. How long should you wait until taking a shower after the cold plunge? Because I believe he said 2 hours.
Okay.
Right. Because if you get in, then it decreases all of the effects of what it's actually doing to your body. So here we go. I need to get a fucking screen right here, dude. So number 4, be quick to have a warm bath and warm shower after you, wait, what? Contrast therapy. Wait, really? Don't be quick to have a warm bath or warm shower soon after your cold session. Contrast therapy has its benefits, but it's better to allow your body to raise its temperature naturally and gradually. The immediate switch from cold to hot and vice versa could also pose a possible shock on the body.
Yes. So I'm waiting. I promised myself I was going to make that big purchase and get myself a sauna as soon as I got the house. I haven't got that yet because I overthink everything. And I believe you have to have a certain temperature in the sauna to get a lot of the great effects. I think it's like 185, 190.
Yes.
But the saunas I've been looking at are the infrareds, which I like the full spectrum. And, I think there's like gets down to your mitochondria and you have more cellular clean out, but those are only like 135 or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. Tell me.
Okay. So right now I have an infrared sauna by Sunlighten. And obviously I was telling you I'm switching it out, right? Because it's an outdoor, like I have my setup outdoors, right? And it gets really fucking cold outside right now. So what happens is after an hour, it switches off. Even with an hour preheat and an hour switch off, right? To get it up to like 140 degrees, sometimes takes 2-3 hours. Unlike your stone base sauna, which gets up to like, 185, 200 degrees, right? You can leave that fucker on, preset it, preheat it. And I just, although, right, I do enjoy it, it doesn't get hot enough. Yeah. I want it to get fucking hotter, right? Because the whole point is, right, you don't want right? Exactly. It's nice to get in there and, you're sweating and all of this shit, right? But I like it, right? And this is really where it kicks in with the heat shock proteins, is where every single thing in your body is telling you to get the fuck out, right? That's where you want to be, right? Totally. And that is not happening. Although I tend to sweat more in an infrared-based sauna, right? My body's fight or flight mechanism is not going off. Very, very rarely does that happen. And to get it up to that 150, 160, 165, it's very hard, right? And I've just had a lot of issues dealing with sunlight and all of the, not saying that they're bad saunas because they do get great reviews, but they do state that it's good for outdoors. Well, no, like if you're going to get one, keep it indoors for the infrared saunas, but I am switching out. I've just had a lot of issues with the shipping because when they ship the sauna both fucking times, it's been shipped damaged. Ugh. Right, so they've sent me. This is my second one
because they're pretty back-ordered. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, Sunlighten is actually really fucking good because they have their own factory and everything like that, and it's high quality stuff, dude. And it's like if you went in there, there's a screen in there. It runs off Android. You can watch Netflix and all that shit. They're really fucking awesome, and they are expensive, but I am switching to that more classic, stone-based sauna that can get really freaking hot, and that's what you want, right?
I want them both.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm sure
there are benefits to the infrared, right? That's
for sure.
That's what. So I'm
for sure. We pulled that up, right? Benefits of infrared sauna.
Are they going to let you send it back, or like how's that work?
Okay, well,
so be able to return it.
Well, that's the thing. They fucking better. Reason being is I'm not returning it because I don't like it. The first time that it got shipped to me, it was shipped damaged, right? Then they sent me a brand new one 2 weeks ago, and a forklift went right through the fucking box, and it was damaged again. Ugh. And although they're telling me that they'll ship it to me without stopping at any places, I'm done. Like, dude, you guys have already shipped me 2 damaged. I know it's not their personal fault, but it's just time to move on. Wipe my hands and move on. So, I mean, it's a great sauna. Like, if anyone's looking for an infrared-based sauna, Sunlighten, as long as you have the space to keep it indoors, it's by far the best one.
Because outdoors, it loses its heat or something?
Yeah, it's just because it's so cold outside, right? And so to get up to that level is a lot more challenging, especially with that hour cutoff switch, right? Because you can set it to preheat for an hour, but then it stays on for an hour, but it still doesn't get hot enough. In the summertime, right, when it was just warmer, the motherfucker was getting up to 160, which was great. But let's just check this out. So what does infrared sauna do to your body? Many studies have looked at using infrared saunas in the treatment of long-lasting health problems and found some proof that saunas may help. That's bullshit. Some proof. Condition studies include high blood pressure, heart failure, dementia, Alzheimer's, headache, type 2 diabetes, and arthritis. The thing is that most of the studies have been off of, stone-based saunas.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
it's good to know.
The big, because, out in Finland and everything like that, they all have stone-based saunas. So the big studies that they've all done has been off of stone. Yeah. And I know they are running studies now on infrared, but it just doesn't, at least mine doesn't get hot enough to where I really, really want that. But
I love those ones. People talk about a barrel sauna, and I'm not even sure. But the ones that, the big, massive barrel, they just look cool.
No, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting a barrel. But just a 2-person one, right? Because I only have a specific amount of area to keep it in. But yeah, definitely. For me, having multiple sclerosis, right? Putting my body is constantly in this state of like, just a lot of stress, right? You know, just all of the pain and everything like that I have to deal with, right? But putting myself through the sauna, like I have this protocol, right? Obviously the cold plunge is not set up yet, but I'll do the cold plunge in the morning, right? And then I get in the sauna before bed, right? And for me, like that is, you know, anytime, because I've taken plenty of ice baths in my life, you know, and when I get out, I feel like a fucking Greek god, man.
It's amazing.
The inflammation, that it just decreases, and I just feel so good inside, and I'm just ready to tackle the world. And then the sauna at nighttime is fantastic because it gets your fucking body ready for sleep, right? It stimulates the melatonin in your body, and I absolutely love it. But when I get out of the sauna, right, I do take a hot shower, and then I just get really good sleep, you know?
Like a baby.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah, I've gotten into, so I had seen something you posted about the multiple sclerosis, which is, you know, that's a wild challenge, and I'm, you know, curious about that journey. But I've gotten into, you know, I've always been interested in nutrition as well.
Yeah.
And when I got into CrossFit years ago, and it was the paleo diet, and that's when I started learning about inflammation and leaky gut and all these things. And the guy that I'm kind of, who I would like, if I had the dedication, and I'm trying to get back there, is Paul Saladino.
Dude, I love Paul Saladino.
Carnivore Code.
Yep, Carnivore MD, man.
So I got his book, and I'm reading it. So basically, this guy was a doctor, and the way he says it is like, you know, plants actually, because they don't have teeth and
plant
claws,
defense chemicals.
They have all these plant defense chemicals, and maybe some people would say that those chemicals are, again, like a hormetic effect. I'm not really sure, but his prescription would be organs. That's where all the most nutrient, you know, filled foods are organs. And red meat, which is so funny because it's literally the opposite of what a lot of people would think.
100%.
So organs, meat. He has now added fruit.
Yep.
Because that would be the part of the plant that they, you know,
they want you to eat.
Nature wants you to eat. Spread the seeds, raw, or you know, specific kind of honey, and then raw dairy. Yeah. So that's if I get really strict, that's kind of what I've been reading about, and what seems to make the most sense to me. I bought these organ pills, so haven't gotten into, you know, Liver King, eating the liver and all that yet, but I did a couple months ago start getting the desiccated organs. So that's like my new vitamin in the morning, take my desiccated organs. But yeah, it's so interesting. You learn about, like, with all these specific foods that irritate your gut, and then I believe your small intestine becomes perforated, and then basically you're poisoning your whole system because you leak your toxins into your bloodstream, which then go to your brain and affects the whole system. So I can see how this would be of major interest to you, because is MS like an autoimmune type thing? Yeah, it's more of it's an autoimmune, but it's a neurological disease. Okay, right. But definitely, what were you gonna say? Well, I was going to say, so reducing as much inflammation as 100% seems like it would be one of the best things you could do. 100%, for sure. I know, for me, because I follow Paul Saladino, right? And I also follow Dr. Terry Walls. That is why I've completely changed so many things about my life since I've gotten the diagnosis. That's why I don't drink anymore. Like, fucking dude. Alcohol, whole nother level of discipline. A whole nother level of discipline. You know, last podcast we were drinking, taking shots, all of that shit, right? And the thing is that the flare ups that I get from alcohol, certain foods, lack of sleep, I wouldn't wish it upon my fucking worst enemy, right? And the day to day pain and struggles I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, but when my sleep is fucking dialed in, right? I'm eating super clean. I'm not like full carnivore, right? But I would say my diet is paleo for sure. 100%. You know,
sugar, gluten, all of that shit fucking out the window. I'm doing my best, right? To like, I don't eat gluten at all. Sugar can be fucking challenging at times, right? But like, it's not like I'm gorging down on candy or things like that anymore. But like meat is, you know, the main focus of my food for sure. Fruits would be second, and then some veggies, absolutely. And when I have all of those things dialed in, I mean, it's like if my baseline, which would be your fucking worst, most people's worst day, right, is if when like that is like here, if I get everything dialed in, that's like here, right? But when I fall off track, it just, dude, I'm like a fucking wreck. And I know, like, I'm really starting to like understand, like, if I take this is going to happen. If I don't do this is going to happen, right? Yeah. And I'm taking the route where I don't want to get on westernized pharmaceuticals because I don't believe that is the answer, although for some it is, for sure, right?
And the symptoms,
right?
The problem kind of deal.
100%,
yeah.
Right? And this is not like, you know, doctor advice. I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm just doing what's best for me. But really understanding like what I put into my body, how it's going to make me feel. That's why like working out, cold plunge, sauna, very strict diet, no more alcohol, a little bit of fucking, like, I don't really smoke that much weed any fucking more, right? If it is, it's usually CBD flower. Like these core things, right? And then the next step for me is 2023. I'm going to be going down to Panama to the Stem Cell Institute.
I was just about to get into that.
100%, right? Because although I go to a neurologist and everything like that, and like I have, you know, get MRI, spinal tap, all that shit.
They don't know.
Well, the thing is, right, is that I just use him as just to make sure like where I'm at with, you know, with my disease, right? Making sure that it's not progressing. Right now I have relapsing, remitting multiple sclerosis. So doing everything in my power to keep it from, you know, progressing. And so even he says, you know, stem cells, right? They're just as good as the best medicine out there, right? The difference is that the best medicine out there has a huge list of fucking, you know, side effects, where stem cells do not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thing is, what's so fucking crazy in America is that the top tier medicine for MS can cost anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000 a year.
Oh my gosh.
A round of stem cells at the Stem Cell Institute for MS related issues. It's a 5-day protocol. It's $25,000. Granted, that's out of pocket, right?
Yeah.
But the numbers don't lie. How much it's helping people, and it's good for about a year to 3 years, right? And not everyone has $25,000 to spend every year to 3 years, right? But you would think that insurance companies would say, well, let's fucking start looking at this because this is a lot cheaper. And the thing is that the stuff that they're getting is from an FDA, you know, facility in Colorado, I believe. Yeah. Right. So it's like, I just don't understand.
Did you listen recently? He's been doing some podcasts, the Ways to Well guy.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I forget
his name.
Yeah. We look up the owner of Ways to Well. They're based out of Austin, Texas.
That one opened my brain. Like I was already kind of curious about a lot of this regenerative or, you know, alternative medicine, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I've kind of been doing some research on it. I've asked doctors about it, and they'll even admit, you know, like when I go to just my, you know, normal checkup, he's like, dude, peptides and stem cells, that's legit. But he says I'm not trained in it. And then they also say, and it's really expensive.
It's expensive, and you have to pay out of the pocket. Yeah, Brigham Bueller. And is the co-founder of Ways to Well, sister company, Revive RX Pharmacy. Yeah.
This guy was a pharmaceutical rep right out of school with Eli Lilly, and, you know, was Cialis was his drug. But anyways,
his story's amazing.
Amazing story. And he opened up my brain, or my, you know, where I saw, so all the big 5 insurance companies are running the whole deal. And so to go and get really in-depth blood labs that could really show you what's going on and help, you know, you not get sick or you know, have a better picture of what's really going on, the farm or the insurance companies just won't even cover it. So you're getting labs that barely show you any picture of what's happening, and it's just such a crazy system, and you see how they're in bed with themselves in all these different ways. A book that I'm reading right now that I don't know if you've heard of, it's called Life Force.
Life Force by Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you said that, right? Because the thing is, being based in California, Ways to Well, I've reached out to them a couple of times because, you know, for me, I'm trying to make my body as strong as possible. So I was on HGH for a good while, and I'm either going to go with, which is human growth hormone and testosterone, right? Replacement, right? And therapy, TRT. So I was either going to go to Ways to Wells or Life Force, right?
Which is like Florida.
Yeah, well, Life
Fort
Force,
Myers,
yeah, absolutely. But, you know, they can do it all through Teladoc now, right?
I paid the $350 to get my blood labs through after reading Life Force, and I haven't gone yet. So, but I can get that done here at any lab in California. So I'm on that. I'm really curious about my hormonal balance because
It's
like
important.
testosterone, we all know steroids and all that, but it's crazy because it's one of the best things in the world.
100%.
So, my brother has been through some health things, and you know, I kind of thought testosterone is evil and that, you know, hurt his heart. But then when you start to do your research, if your testosterone levels are too low, that's when that also contributes to, you know, heart disease and dementia and all these things. So it's just so interesting. Did you get your testosterone levels checked?
Yeah. So,
what were you at?
well, my testosterone levels were at 325, right?
So that's kind of on the low.
No, it's definitely on the low side. And so
I want you like 800 maybe or something.
What?
I want you to be like 800.
Yeah, 800, right? And I was taking Pregnol. Reason I was taking Pregnol is because, you know, they say that if you take testosterone before you have kids, right, it can lower your sperm count, right? But Pregnol is a fertility drug that can then increase your testosterone, right? But I'm not going to the place that I was going because I was on Pregnol and Samoralin, which is human growth hormone.
Peptide.
Yeah. And so, but now I'm looking for, because I want to get, so the place that I was going to does the full blood lab and everything like that, right? But I want to kind of like branch out more into like Ways to Wells or Life Force, right?
Yeah.
But what's also great is that they do optimization for women as well.
Well,
right?
Another thing I learned is that testosterone is a really positive hormone for women as well, and really the estrogen becomes one of the big problems, but that's the deal with the TRT when you're getting your testosterone. If you don't then keep, so there are issues like you got to keep all your levels in check. But I was surprised to learn recently that testosterone can have really positive effects on women as well.
Yeah, and they're just, you know, for a long time it was like optimization for men, but they're really starting to see that they can help women, like especially through like menopause or just different levels that they're lower and that they can boost it, and it can just change the way, you know, male and females live their day-to-day life, right? And so like we really need to be diving deeper into these things.
So exciting.
Unfortunately, like insurance companies are not covering it, and that's why you have to pay out of pocket. And, you know, obviously people are not all, you know, I think the average bank account in America is like $400, right? Yeah. So like most people don't have the money to be able to cover these types of things. But if you you know, have the financial feasibility to do these things, it's really important to look into it, right? And to be able to get your blood sugar. It's like so fucking weird that we get a physical once a year, right? It's like, what the fuck, man? It's like,
But and then when you do get a physical, they're knocking on your knee and they're looking up your nose and doing very basic blood labs. So if we're going to do a physical once a year, at least do a deep dive, right?
Yeah, but we should be doing it every 3 months. You know, it's like we get our oil change, we get our car checked out more than we do the human body.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like if we did this on a regular basis, the levels of disease and heart issues and just so many other things would decrease, and insurance companies would then pay less money. But they always wait until like you're at the end of the fucking road and you need the kitchen sink thrown at you.
It's hard to wrap my head around that. Like if there are better solutions out there, why they're not being explored. And then I think it was Brigham maybe who was saying essentially they kind of count on your insurance lapsing, and then you end up, it's more likely with the numbers that you'll end up being on somebody else's dime.
Of course.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
Well, most people
your
change job
policy-
every 2 years.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So you change your job, you're on a new insurance policy, and instead of really trying to get you healthy, they're just hoping that by the time you really need all this expensive health care, you're with somebody else.
Yes. No, that's exactly it. You know, a really good podcast to listen to is Brigham's podcast on the Joe Rogan
That's where I heard
Experience,
him,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. And it's just really eye-opening to understand everything that's going on in the pharmaceutical space, especially because he was on that side, right? You know, and now he's created this amazing company that is truly helping people, you know, through the means of like, you know, functional medicine and regenerative care.
Begging my mom to give it a shot. She's, you know, got just some of the things that come along, but she, you know, sleep issues that they can't figure out, and neurological things now that they can't figure out, like tasering in her legs and you know, restless leg and just you know, these weird things. But I'm like, I don't know, I'm still learning, Mom, but like, please open your brain. And it's so hard for people to get away from the traditional medicine or you know, a lot of these things, you know, like the peptides, for instance. You got to give yourself a shot,
but it's so
multiple times a week. It's easy, but that scares people away. And
of
then
course,
they think, oh, drugs and you know, steroids, or so it's just how, you know,
well,
how do we get more people to really trust this? And then with the stem cells, the way I understand it is like the best ones are from the, not the
umbilical
fetus,
cord.
And the, what's around a baby?
It's the why am I drawing a blank? The placenta.
Placental. So you can get stem cells in the United States, but I guess if you want the placental stem cells, that's why people go to other countries.
Other countries, because the stem cells that we're traditionally giving in the States is like from the fat tissue.
I mean, these are literally like rebuilding and healing things that doctors thought could never be healed, could never be rebuilt. I mean, I'd be curious, you know, where you feel like you might be, you know, where your journey might take you with MS, and like, is it a chronic thing? Like, I know it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you have hope that this is something that, you know, with a lot of care and, you know, trying these new kind of things, that it could be something that you beat?
I don't know beat per se at this current moment in time, right? But living a long life, yes, because the average female with MS dies 7 years early, the average male 11 years early, right? But with all of these new emerging things like stem cells, right? It could be a game changer, right? And it is a game changer for a lot of people. The thing is, right, financial feasibility. And I just know that not everyone you know, has that $25,000 to spend something, you know, that's not even 100%, right? But it's got very high rates of success. It can be scary. And then having to spend that, you know, once a year, once every other year, once every 3 years, right? Could be a lot, but it's just, you know, for me, it's like,
but it makes, God, there's just so many benefits. Yeah, again, some people just can't afford it.
But if insurance companies would take care of it, it would be a fucking game changer.
And it doesn't just heal that shoulder injury. Like, it seems like it's a whole system reboot. And like, you know, so if you're getting your whole system healing up and again, maybe we don't live forever, but if I can live to 100, but also at 90 still be going and
rocking it,
running and having fun and feeling good in my body. That makes me excited.
That's it.
Man,
yeah.
So.
And so, I'm very excited for the future. Right. But that's why I'm not taking this westernized medicine approach. Right. Because, there's just a lot of issues and side effects with it. Right. And
in a weird way, Brock, and I don't mean to sound ignorant when I say this, but like, there's some gift in that, like, it forced you to like look at your whole, you know,
100%
health and your body and the way you live differently. And while it's a challenge, you end up having an even better life because it made you focus and then learn all these, you know, cool things. And then the amount of people that you're going to be able to help as well.
Yes.
I love that aspect. It seems like you're trying to start, you know, kind of spreading a message and trying to help other people as well, right?
Yeah, that's definitely it, man. And just sharing my own story and you know, going through my own experience, right? But I am very, very hopeful for the future. And it is you know, the path that I was going on before this, right? was definitely a dark path. And so, yeah, although it was something that I believe that I've had for a very long time, actually since I've been younger, it could be a blessing in disguise, you know, and that's the only way I can look at it. It's literally the only way I can look at it, right? And all I can do is just keep on fucking moving forward. And I am fortunate that I am in the position that I'm in, right? You know, I know a lot of people that are going through this are not in the same position, and you know, as much of a mindset it is, it's also a financial thing too, right? But I am very hopeful in the future that, you know, the costs come down, and as a country we start to look at these other options, and I believe that stem cells have such a vital role in being able to assist people with all different things, but especially MS for sure.
Yeah, if and when I have kids, you better believe I'm keeping that.
Oh, for sure. The placenta.
I'm keeping that placenta.
Yeah, but
I'm putting it on ice.
I think it's like $2,000 a year.
It's
worth it, man.
That's what I heard, that, you know, it's a couple $100 a month to, you know, to basically keep it in cryo frozen or whatever. But
it's the building blocks of life, man.
It's so interesting. I read these books and I feel so energized, and it just gets me pumped up. So it's cool. It seems like so many more people are being opened up, and another great exciting thing about podcasts, this whole new source of education.
Oh my God,
that we're being you know, gifted.
Absolutely, man. I mean, podcasting has definitely changed my entire life. I mean, listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, you know, before I started becoming an avid listener, you know, I was like 200 fucking pounds. I was getting drunk every night. I was, you know, just eating like shit. I look at pictures of myself back then. I had this fucking beer belly, and my face was all much lighter. And then I really just started looking at my health. This is before the MS and all that. Back then, they thought I had fibromyalgia, and you know, I was not taking my health seriously, and through listening to Rogan and you know, him bringing on all these different guests, and you know, just constantly drilling in the importance of, you know, taking care of your own body. It's just opened up my eyes and so many other people's eyes, right? And so I just think it's really important that it doesn't matter if you have MS or chronic illness or not, right? To really grab a hold of your life and start today. Today's the day. Don't say, oh, I'm going to fucking start, you know, on this diet or this thing or that, and, you know, the new year. Fuck that. If you say that, 99% chance you are not going to do it. Totally. Start tomorrow. Right?
All right.
Baby steps, baby.
I'm calling you tomorrow because, look, I do a lot of things. I have a lot of discipline in a lot of ways that I'm proud of, and it's gotten me to where I am, and I'm grateful for my athletic background for that, and just like, you know, wanting to be the best I can be and being competitive. But I've wrestled with that myself, where it's just once you get off track and you're not in some sort of structured lifestyle, the bad habits build quickly. And so I've been fighting to get back into like a routine with really healthy rituals. And you know, I started my wake up and get my sunshine and walk outside, but that's a great message, man. I'm not going to wait for next Monday.
No.
Like, tomorrow is the day. I'm going to take what I can control into my own hands. For me, I need to build systems, you know, like if you have all these cool pieces of information, they float around in my head, and sometimes that prevents me from getting started because it seems like such a mountain. But I'm going to go write it down, put it in front of me, and if I'm not perfect tomorrow, okay, I'm not perfect tomorrow, but I can get on that path. And then I was actually journaling about this yesterday, where it's like in my brain right now, it's hard to get started with like my getting back into my fitness routine, which always makes me feel great, because I'm like, oh, until I'm 2 months from now, when I feel like I'm at my best again, I'm not going to feel good, so it's hard to get started. But it's like, no, dude, all those little steps make you feel as good as you're going to feel at that end goal, because you know where you're going. And point being is, just don't let the mountain stop you from starting the little steps, because those little steps very quickly can get you into this really great space, and then be a positive energy for the people around you, and
100%,
you know, be the best you can be. And so I'm going, you know, definitely take this conversation to heart, and I'll text you tomorrow morning. I'm going to, whatever the ritual is, I'm going to commit to it, and I'm not going to plug right into Sports Center or whatever crap I watch in the morning. And,
Yeah.
and give myself that gift, because it's amazing how great you feel when you do
Oh,
these little
100%.
tough things. But
It's just baby steps, man. It's just fucking doing it. And I have this acronym that I say to myself all the time. DBAB. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. It's written down in my freaking bathroom, in my shower, right? It says, don't be a bitch. And then my wife wrote, be a book-a-da-boo. It's a little like, we go and we say this little thing,
I
and
love it.
yeah, but it's just kind of a little funny thing. But it's just like I say it all the time. It's like, don't be a bitch. It's like, even on my fucking worst day, man, it's just like, push forward, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm in control of my own life.
Tough
and if I'm just gonna let this negative talk and these negative thoughts, and just because I feel like shit today, I don't want to work out, or I don't want to get in the sun, or I don't want to fucking do this, just don't be a bitch. Just fucking do it, because once you're done with it, you're done with it, and you're gonna feel so much better and so much more proud of yourself. And it's like, I don't know, I've just been able to now build these systems in my life where I never had that. But once you build it, it's just like, there's no other fucking way.
I need a therapist like you. I've done a little bit of therapy, not too much, but I can see where there's value. But my one issue with the one therapist I had seen was that she was always trying to like make me be nicer to myself. I get that, right? But
Yeah.
I like, don't be a bitch.
Yes.
Because that's what I respond to. It's like, okay, yes, I don't need to beat myself up for the ways I'm not perfect, but I want somebody to give me the message that,
Yeah.
like, let's do this. Come on, be the best you can be. Step it up.
Yeah.
So there's a balance. She would always say, say you could do it rather than you should. And it just, I get the message that she was trying to give me, but no, and again, maybe it's the team athlete culture
Yeah.
or whatever, or maybe I'm just a dude, but I want that tough love, and I need to be tough on myself sometimes.
100%.
And then it feels good. It feels good to, don't be a bitch. And then when you're not a bitch, it feels real good.
Fuck yeah. And it's not I should or could. It's like, no, fuck that. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
going to do it. You know,
Yeah.
get the fuck off that couch, you fat fucking piece of shit, and just push
Yeah.
forward. And that's what I tell myself. That's literally all I can. And yeah, man, it's like I talk to myself like that. And I don't know, for me, like, especially when it comes to therapy, right? I like seeing a dude, right? Because I think it's more relatable, right? Nothing against female therapists, and some guys like female therapists, and that's totally fine. But for me, talking to another guy, he gets it a little bit more, the testosterone flowing through our blood. And,
I forgot, actually, you referred me to your guy.
Yep.
And he was all booked, man.
Yeah.
It's tough to find a good therapist nowadays, but I was thinking that myself. I was like, maybe just having somebody, because at the end of the day, guys, girls, whatever you are, we filter the world differently.
Of course.
And maybe it would be interesting to talk to somebody who just had the same goggles on as I do.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Yeah.
still-
Shout out
still
to
looking
Brandon
for that.
Gretzky. Yeah, he's definitely got booked. It's kind of crazy to see how much he's blown up, and I'm really fucking proud of him. And he helped me out through some of my darkest periods in my life, and he got me over some pretty dark shit. And
Yeah.
I used to see him on a weekly basis, but now I just see him once a month. And
Nice.
but it's important to be able to talk to someone, but at the same time, we don't always need to be polite and nice to ourselves. Obviously, you don't want to fucking treat yourself like an asshole and say I'm the worst piece of shit ever. But sometimes it's, I think it's healthy.
I don't want to give myself any more outs. I don't want to give myself excuses, because at the end of the day, being nice to myself or just letting myself off the hook doesn't end up making me feel better. It ends up just elongating my suffering.
Yes. Yes.
So like, even if it's going to be hard, if I have to say something mean to myself to get myself, whatever it takes to get action steps going, I'm down with,
100%, man.
Yeah. Otherwise it just becomes like, you can just lay in it, and the inertia just keeps you still. And no, it doesn't work for me, man. I need somebody to whoop my butt.
Fuck yeah, man.
Whoop my own butt if I got to, but I'd rather somebody kick my ass, and then I'd feel better the rest of my life from that one beating, rather than somebody massaging me the whole time. But I live in agony. So.
100%. Yeah, that's kind of the culture we live in today, right? It's like everyone gets a participation trophy, and it's just like a PC culture. And it's like, no, sometimes we got to be fucking hard on ourselves, and sometimes we need someone. Not saying that life is perfect, because life is not perfect, and life is not made of, sugar and sweet and everything nice. No, life is bumpy and moldy and beautiful and strange and crazy and chaotic and amazing, and all of these things wrapped into one. And that is called reality.
There you go.
Right?
I love that.
So as we start to wrap this shit up, dude, I want to know what's next for you, man. What the fuck is going on for you next?
Well, I believe we will be shooting another season of the Oval.
Woo!
Yeah. Pretty sure that'll happen in the springtime. I have some friends who are producing a film right now that I believe that I will be a part of in December, so we'll see. But in the meantime, yeah, just trying to be the best version of myself, and building. We got Jazzman's Blues on Netflix.
Yeah.
Everybody go check it out. Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. on BET. The Oval airs. And then beyond that, it's like I said, man, it's just everything we've been talking about, trying to be the best I can. And then I'm also trying to find that new art form, something each day to wake up for. And there's a lot of potentials, whether that's making music or what have you. But I'm kind of in a seeking mode right now, so it's kind of cool to have this conversation. It helps me to remind me and push me to go make that leap, whatever it might be. Even if I jump into something that ends up not being my answer, I'd rather be in something rather than nothing.
Absolutely, man. Just keep on fucking pushing forward.
Yeah.
And never give up, and don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch.
Where can people find you on social media?
Instagram at Brad Benedict, Facebook, if that's still a thing, that's the Brad Benedict. But I'm not the best at social media. But yeah, if you want to reach out, Instagram's probably the best way.
All right, man.
All right.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Motherfucker. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, people. Have a wonderful night. Smooches.
Peace.
Boom.
Another one in the books. Good shit, man. You're a good man.
And that's how it's done, ladies and gentlemen.